just got my ring caught in my hair.
Hi, Sarayu.
Hi.
I'm Nadia with Next Best Picture.
Nadia, I know. Hi. It's good to
Hi.
meet
Good to meet you too. Welcome to our Next Best Series podcast. How's your day going?
you. It's going great. Thank you. How about yours?
It's going good. Good. Nice to see you. It's really lovely to meet you as well. And thank you so much for your time. Very
And
excited.
thank
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just thanking you in return. Thank you
Oh,
for taking the time to talk to me. I love getting to talk about expats and Hillary. It just means so much to me. So I appreciate you.
thank you so much. I'm really excited to talk about expats with you. This fantastic limited series created and directed by Lulu Wang, who also directed one of my favorite films, The Farewell, just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Expats is such a tremendous example of how beautifully her storytelling reflects and echoes real life with so many resonant themes on identity and womanhood among so many other subjects. And when I think about the show, I my mind immediately goes to your character, Hillary Starr. I think you so brilliantly let us in to this woman's inner conflict and all of the complex emotional journeys that she's going through, and all beneath this kind of um, very tailored surface. And I want us to just start by saying congratulations on this series and thank you for the work that you do. Your performance was so moving to watch, and it was just fantastic.
Well, I can't say enough how meaningful that is because I think Hillary was one of those characters that you just dream of, for like most of your existence. And I think, particularly as a woman of color, these opportunities feel really, really few and far between. And obviously, there's so much that's changed and grown, which is so exciting to see. And still, I think it's really um, rare and unique for a woman to get to play this level of character with this level of depth and nuance and story, so much story, and I am so aware of the gift that that was. And the fact that it resonated is just a dream come true, truly.
Yeah, it really is a wonderful opportunity, and I'm wondering, how did this project come your way, and what were you most looking forward to going into the filming process with this character?
Honestly, came my way in a pretty typical fashion. I got an audition, and I remember knowing pretty quickly just how exciting this was, just the sort of monumental level that this was going to be, because we've got Lulu Wang, we've got Nicole Kidman, we have Amazon who are willing to really invest in this show, which again is a rare and unique thing, unfortunately. And the fact that they invested with the passion that they did is part of why you have the show you have, and um I think when I first started to read it, mind you, I only got the sides at first. We don't always get the full scripts. And so even from the sides, I could tell. I was like, oh, this is meaty. This is going to have some real, like something I can sink my teeth into. And I think even in the very early stages, I was aware just how exciting this could be. And so I just started to throw down from the get-go, really.
I was wondering as well about the influence of Janice Y. K. Lee's book, The
Yeah.
Expatriates. Were
Yeah.
you familiar with that text going in? And did you and Lulu talk about the literary adaptation of Hillary's character?
We definitely talked about it. And I became aware of the book. I started to read it once I got the appointment because I wanted to really get as much information as I could, get as much backstory as I could. And it was helpful. But obviously, as we saw in the show, there's quite a departure Hillary's character takes. And I think that's a real testament to Janice and her willingness to say, let's play. We have a different medium here. So let's tell the story. Let's have the story be a part of it. But let's also feel free to take some liberties and make some choices. And that's where, you have a Hillary that's South Asian. Why you have a Hillary that has family and storyline and really who is delving into what it looks like to maybe not want to be a parent, to not want to be a mom, and what does that journey look like. And I think it's so it's such a testament to Lulu and Janice that they were excited to sort of dig into Hillary and see where they could go with her.
Yeah, speaking of that, conversation around motherhood, one of the most powerful scenes in the show is the elevator scene, which is packed with so many different conversations
Woo!
going on there,
No.
including motherhood and
Yeah.
there's so much pressure on women to have kids, and babies are seen as the glue, so to speak, of
Right.
to save marriages and to keep relationships intact. And it was especially powerful to watch that conversation play out between you and Sutta Butcher, who plays your mother. What was it like to work with her, and what was it like unpacking those mother-daughter dynamics with her in particular?
Well, I think I'm probably Sutha's biggest fan. I mean, probably she has bigger fans than me, to be fair. But um, but I she really is iconic. Her abilities, her range, her authenticity that she brought to the role is so much of why that episode is what it is. And there's no work that I did that didn't come as a direct um correlation to what she gave me, right? It's all
Mhm,
energy. And she is brilliant. I mean, she's on a whole other level. I really just am in awe of her. And I really learned even working with her. You know, you grow when you work with actors like Sudha.
mhm.
And so I feel very lucky that I got that experience. And I just hope to get to see her in anything and everything. Like literally, Hollywood, if you're listening to this, please cast her in everything. Um, and I think in terms of unpacking the dynamics, it's so funny, but so much of it just happens, you know,
Mhm,
especially there are elements of this mother-daughter relationship that I think really are very relatable for a lot of us South Asian women.
mhm,
And I think that because it's so, you know, it was written by that episode was written by Gursimran Santhu, who wrote it so impeccably. And because she's writing it, there's another added dimension to the authenticity.
mhm,
And so when we get into this monologue about the makeup and the, you know,
mhm,
even just the hints of colorism that are getting addressed, even just the dynamics around a mother who thinks that, you know, it's funny, you said something that I'm trying to circle back to. You said something around the pressure for women to have children and that babies can be seen as the glue, which is so true. There's
mhm,
also an element of worthiness that we
mhm.
are not worthy unless we have children. And Sudha's character really addresses that. And you see Hillary push back on that. Like, can I still
Yeah.
be worthy as a woman? And for me, as somebody who is child free, of course, this hits so deep. This strikes on so many chords for me. So I think I'm just really excited. I found so many women really love this aspect of Hillary. And I think it's really exciting to me because I know as an artist, that was one of the most, you know, exciting pieces of the connective tissue of Hillary.
Yeah, it's such she's such a layered character, and it was so incredible to watch you navigate all of these different conversations that were going on, and all with the direction of Lulu. Could you talk a little bit more about her, working with her, and what stood out to you about her voice as a filmmaker?
I'd love to talk about that. You know, I'm really in also in awe of Lulu. I mean, I think what Lulu has as a director is pretty spectacular because she has a very clear POV, which is exactly what you want in your director. And she has the willingness to collaborate and really say, okay, that this isn't working. We don't need this. Why do you want that? You know, like we just would have a lot of conversations. And I felt like, especially in times where things were really raw and vulnerable, like the elevator stuff or the hospital scene with the dad,
Mm,
there's a lot of sensitivity. You know, the set was so quiet because
mhm,
there's just a really generous awareness of what an actor might need in order to be able to tap into this level of emotion, this level
mhm.
of raw vulnerability. And that was one of my favorite things about working with Lulu. And, you know, also that there were times where I could say, this feels, and she'd be like, yeah, you know, you might
Mhm.
not, let's cut that sentence. Or she always kind of felt it. There was a real sort of intuitiveness about the way she operates. And it was really, I mean, I think it's another testament to why we have the show we have.
It's an incredible dynamic, and it does feel like everyone is so deeply on the same page too with the story that's being told. In particular, Hillary's friendship with Margaret, played by Nicole Kidman, there's
Yes.
so much going on there, both of them navigating pain and such vulnerable times in their lives alongside each other. And there's a moment when Hillary says she doesn't quite know how to be Margaret's friend right now, which can be such a relatable moment when a friend is going through a tough time. I loved your chemistry with Nicole Kidman. It did feel like there was such a real kind of shorthand between the two of you, and what was it like working with her, and was it written in the script for the two of you to sing and dance to Heart of Glass?
It
Or was that
was.
okay, that felt super
It was.
spontaneous.
Well, that was probably one of my favorite things about working with Nicole is we
Mm,
did have really great chemistry. And um she's the kind of actor that I is maybe one of my favorites to work with in that they'll always give you energy. She's always giving you something. She's never going to phone it in.
yeah.
She's never going to say, "Oh, the camera's not on me. I'm just going to sort of say my lines without giving you, a real human being to respond to." And that is my favorite kind of actor, especially coming from theater training. That's the way I've always sort of operated. To me, it's kind of all energy, right? So if I'm withholding my energy, how could anyone respond to that truthfully? And what I love about the way Nicole works is she has that same fire and that
Mm,
same willingness to play. And I think that's why you see the chemistry that you see because we really are just connecting. And I think the friendship between Margaret and Hillary it honestly kinda makes me cry because it's so
mhm,
real, I
yeah,
have experienced friendships falling apart, um, I think most of us have, and it's something that I don't think is talked about very often, which is so
yeah,
fascinating. We're all, as a society, pretty comfortable at talking about relationships that are love relationships and breakups and dating and marriages and divorces. But what about the reality of friendships that just start to either grow apart because of life or
mm,
because something happened and they're no longer on the same page? And that's what you really see with Margaret and Hillary. Um, and it's painful. And,
mhm,
you sort of see Hillary going through multiple breakups. She's
yes,
breaking up with David, she's breaking up with Margaret, and she's breaking up a little bit with her own family and their lies that they've been telling. She's saying, I can't do this anymore. So I think part of why Hillary resonates for so many of us is because it's such an adult experience. It's
mhm,
such a real experience as we start to get out of college and we start to live in the world. That's what it looks like.
yeah,
It's messy.
incredible. Yes. It's very messy,
It's
and
so
it
messy.
welcome to adulthood.
I know. We're all like, now I
Crazy.
want to go back to nap time at 7.
Yeah.
Take me
This
back.
actually made me think about another moment. It's in the last episode when Hillary's breaking the fourth wall, and there's a conversation about, being courageous enough to lose sight of the shore, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's such a powerful line, and it kinda made me think of, what happens when a place that once felt home doesn't feel like home anymore, and I was wondering, for you as an actor, when you go through a journey like Expats and that character's world becomes your home for a moment, and then you find that it's time to move on to the next project, how do you feel about moving onwards? Is it easier for you to move on, or do you feel like Hillary is sort of still lingering inside?
I think she's definitely still lingering. I think there's lessons I've learned from Hillary. I think that Hillary grew me in ways that, I mean, there were elements of this project that I genuinely thought, can I do this? Like this is what I went to grad school for. This is what I wanted when I got out. This was the dream. And then, you start to sort of take the work that you're known for. I say take the work as if it's a choice. I mean, I got the work I got and you start to get in every one of us starts to get in sort of a comfort zone if we're lucky. And um this project came around and I was like, I have not been asked to do this level of work since I did Maggie the Cat in grad school. This is like a whole new level. I mean, there's a better word, stratosphere, right?
Mhm.
And now I'm playing ball with Nicole Kidman, Lulu Wang, and in a role that requires relentless vulnerability.
Mhm.
So I don't know that I'll ever say goodbye to Hillary. I just like when I did I Feel Bad, which was probably one of my other dream roles. I did a show called I Feel Bad, and Emmett still lives in me. You know, Emmett was the name of that character. And I think there are Maggie, the cat in grad school, still lives in me. There are certain roles that we play, if we're lucky, that become a piece of us. And
Mhm.
those women are still teaching me how to be in this world.
It's very, very powerful. And it's so incredible to hear that. I also wanted to mention too, with the show being on Amazon Prime, which is such a huge platform, people can constantly kind of rediscover it or see it for the first time and really think about it and chew on it. And looking back on the show since its release, what do you hope for people to really take away from and remember about expats?
You know, there's a few things. I think there are certain things about the show that I think are really exciting, like, oh, here it's a female-driven show that is actually incredibly universal.
Yeah.
Here's a show with primarily women of color, primarily writers of color, showrunner that's a woman of color, director. You know, like there's so much inclusion in this show just because.
Mhm.
Just because it makes sense and it's great. It doesn't even have to make sense, you know, and that there's just quality storytelling here that resonates with so many. So
Mm.
there's just like on a base level, I'm really excited that people are recognizing more and more that you get to just have shows like this with a lot of inclusion and at the same time just great story that is universal, right? Like that's
Yeah.
always exciting to me. On another level, I think what I hope people take away is that Lulu talks about how one of the things she loves about the show and she always wanted to do with the show is that people walk away having a conversation. There aren't clear answers.
Mhm.
There is no villain, there is no hero, there's just humanity. And that at some point in this show, you start to recognize you might be rooting for someone and then they do something that you don't like. You might be, and you start to sort of see like who there is no team here, you know, there's just human beings and the messiness of being a human being. So I think what I hope as people rediscover or watch for the first time is that they're just willing to get messy with us and be in this world because that to me is the core of humanity.
Very, very well said. Well, your performance and the show itself have hit such a chord and will stay with me for a very long time as well. And I'm sure many, many other people. And I know we're reaching the end of our time here, but as we wrap up, we would love to know what you're working on next if you're able to tell us.
I am able to, so that's good
Good.
timing. I'm actually working on a show for Hulu called The Untitled Orphan Project. That, of course, will have a a different name when it airs.
Yeah.
But it's starring Ellen Pompeo, Mark Duplass, and I'm just having a great time getting to film it. And I'm so thankful for work because I know it's been a really difficult and trying time for so much of our industry, even
Mhm.
post strike. So I just
Yeah.
really hope work continues to pick up for everyone because I love our industry and I want everyone to be able to do what we do.
Amazing.
Oh, that's also one.
Oh, looks very
Yeah,
similar to my dog,
is
actually.
he?
Yeah.
He's a big fan of interviews. He
Aw.
loves check in.
Very nice. Well, we look forward to whatever you do next. It was such a pleasure to speak with you, Sarayu. Thank you so, so much for your time and best of luck going forward. We'll be rooting for you this Emmy season. We hope to see
Oh,
you. Your performance is so spectacular in Expats, and congratulations again on this show.
thank you. And thank you for your time. I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.